Rick says muted. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. There's a reason why that happened. And maybe it's better that it was muted. So I'll start all over again. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my friends, and welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. That'd be me. I'm waiting for Kelsey to end over there. It's an interesting show this morning. Which is bound. There's a little banter there. Kelsey was talking about me. And I was laughing because I know what he, how do I say it? This is so hard to do. I know that what he was saying was taken so wrong. It was meant to be funny. At least I hope so. But it didn't take people very long. Believe me, it didn't take people very long at all to jump on the, yeah, let's hate Mitch bandwagon. Yeah, I don't watch Mitch anymore because he said this and he did that. And yeah, what's wrong with me? And so many people jumped on the bandwagon, and I said, see, I'm right. I'm right about people in general. I think people would much rather see or hear the negatives in so many cases. So many people are like this, and wow. And it wasn't what Kilt said that hurt my feelings. It was what my viewers said. It was what they said in the comments. Like when I go on Rick's live stream and I just have to watch all the people jumping on a bandwagon when somebody makes a negative comment about me. And I say to myself, again, why do I do this? When people are so quick to jump. Now, Kilt's is still going strong. He's still got 135 people over there. Most of them are the people that decided, well, I guess we're done with Mitch. And isn't it a shame that the world is like that when the reality of it is you just can't joke around anymore. You can't bust on anybody. Everybody takes everything so seriously. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. And I had a whole, what I thought was going to be a really great show planned out for today, but somebody better come back and tell me what to do, guys. Just tell me what to do, because Kelsey, I love you. If you think in any way that I don't, that hurts me. If you think that I haven't been just busted on you a little, and saying a few things about some of the things I don't agree with, which obviously everybody doesn't agree. If you take that seriously, I'm sorry. But Kelsey made a comment this morning. He said he's never going to watch Mitch again, he said, because he used, when I saw him yesterday on drinking coffee, he said, I'm never watching him again. He wasn't using a Kilt's coffee cup. Now, does anybody actually think that was true? I started laughing. But then I saw the response from people I thought were my friends, who took the opportunity to trash me. And that's what's wrong with our entire world, people. That's the thing that makes me want to just drop out completely. And they're still going over there. And still got 116 people over there. But I want Kelsey to come in here this morning so we can let everybody know that this is kindergarten, childish stuff. And hurtful as hell to any real person with any real feelings. So, this morning, I have 2 cups of Kilt's coffee here. So drink it if you got it. And this one too. There you go. There you go. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrap any ideas I had for today's show. Because I have a decision to make today, and that is it's a time for me to graduate kindergarten at 70, almost 79 years old. Should I maybe graduate kindergarten, leave the kindergarten kids behind? Because it seems like nothing I say, nothing I say is ever heard. It's incredible. Yesterday afternoon, Robert Kilt says, can't do this anymore. Kelsey. I'm sitting here. I'm glad you're here. I'm sitting here with 2 of your coffee cups. 2, not 1, but 2. If I could drink out of both of them at the same time without dribbling all over me, I would. This thing, I don't know what this thing between you and me has turned into. I'll tell you how it started. And maybe you should come in here with me this morning. Because Yeah, see, people were saying he thought Kiltz was kidding. Well, the problem is, Kiltz is like me, a realist, a very sensitive guy. Wants to be positive all the time. I also want to be, but there are things going on that just are not pleasant, and there are things, and this whole thing that is not real, but was misinterpreted from the beginning. At least I hope it wasn't real. But the people that jumped on the Let's Hate Mitch bandwagon is what has always bothered me. Now, I guess you can't be a public figure. I've seen people hating on Kiltz all the time. And I always defend him. He's my friend, I hope. But our friendship doesn't go back that far. Not like the guys that you went to elementary school with, but there's a connection. It all started that day, and this morning I heard Kiltz actually say that he fell into this trap of getting bad medical results, and it caused him to go off and say things and do things, which of course were misinterpreted by the class. And he finally realized that he's not going to die tomorrow because of some little blood test number. Well, see, that reaction is why I'm so adamantly against getting blood tests every day. They cause more harm than good. We agree 100% on that. But in his, I have to psychoanalyze my brother a little bit. In his state of mind, when he came out and kind of seemed like he swung a little the other way, everybody thought he was going off carnivore. Well, of course, the Kiltz haters, and there are, came out and said, well, I'm never watching him again. He's a turncoat. He doesn't have conviction. And that's not true. But people, since when have people only said in public, because this is public, when you say something in a chat or a live stream, you're saying it in public. When have they ever said anything that might actually be true? Kiltz says, I need a therapist for sure. Kiltz, what they forget when they start on that road to demonizing somebody, when they start down that, jumping on that bandwagon of a lynching is what it is, and why people just fall into that mindset, the stuff that riots are made of. They get incited. It seems to be human nature. But it happens, and it happened this morning. It happened this morning. You looked at the camera and said, that's it. I'm not watching Mitch anymore. Yesterday, I was watching, and I saw he didn't drink with a Kiltz's coffee cup. And immediately was followed by one chat after another. Yeah, I hate Mitch. Mitch this, Mitch that. I'm never watching Mitch again. And that kind of thing snowballs. And then the two close friends, the two people that love and admire each other, start to say, well, maybe he really wasn't saying that in jest. Maybe he really meant it. And then you start doubting each other. And then the whole thing blows up. And just like Putin and Trump, just like everything else, a small misunderstanding can escalate to World War III, start a nuclear war, and solve all our problems because life as we know it will end. How did it start? It started, the butterfly effect, from one stupid misunderstanding of somebody else's comment, coupled with your own personal biases, which give you a reason to say, yeah, that's the way it happened. And this thing with Kelsey, I've been basically living in the fear that I might lose him as a friend, because what started as a simple disagreement with something he said can grow into something where every half, all my subscribers are starting to say, you're an evil man, Mitch. And it breaks my heart and makes me want to say, okay, I won't bother you anymore, and just go about my life. And I would hope that people don't want me to do that. And I'm glad that Kelsey came in here this morning. My cat is my therapist, Kelsey says. So, Kelsey, I have very few disagreements with you, my friend. The only one that started this whole thing was when you came on that morning and went down a speech of things that not only triggered my carb addiction, but when you're describing food and how great it was, and then the Four Seasons and all this, and I'm saying maybe that's not such a good idea to talk about crack in a crack addicts recovery meeting. And my insistence that the biggest problem we have here is carbohydrate addiction. And we really don't take it seriously enough. And that's always been my message, and that's my new message. It was just my reaction to what I thought was topic that could be very easily taken the wrong way, and that it would be viewed from a respected authority as okay, you now have my permission to eat all this delicious stuff I'm telling you about. And that's how how it started. I immediately, when I saw that people just didn't get it, that people read things into both what you said and how I reacted to it, it got a life of its own. If left unclarified, it can only escalate to extinction eventually, and one of us would have to go. And if that ever comes to that, my friend, I volunteer. I defer to you. I'll hand the mantle to you. I'm old. You're younger. Run with it. But I hope it doesn't come to that. But if I continually get my feelings hurt every time I try to help somebody, it's killing me. And how ironic that I come on here to talk about health when it's killing me. Here, let me get back. All right, I'm back. I'm back, everybody. And on the phone with me right now is Robert Kiltz himself, and he wants to come in here. And I want him to come in here so the two of us can straighten this crap out. Excuse me. And convince our loyal friends and followers that maybe the people that just want to start a war or want to badmouth us should go somewhere else, you know? So anyway, in the chat is going to be a link. It's just for Kelsey. Anybody else clicks it, I'm not letting you in, so don't bother. But I'm going to wait for Kelsey to come in, and then we're going to have the Mitch and Kilt show. Dr. Kiltz has entered the studio. There we go. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me? You got
Oh,
Kelsey?
yeah, man. I can hear you. I can hear you great. I can hear you great. You know, did you notice this morning that as a joke, it was starting out as a joke, Kelsey, when you said you're not going to watch me anymore than because I didn't have your coffee cup. Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta fix this. How about there we go. I had you on still. All right.
Okay.
Hi,
All right.
Good
All
day.
right. So what I was saying, what I was going to do, I mean, I was laughing. I was laughing when you guys were saying things like that until I started to read the chat and saw people that like me started to jump on the way. Yeah, I'm not watching Mitch anymore. And I have feelings, unfortunately. I wish I didn't, but it hurt my feelings. But I was going to come on first thing this morning. I already got them ready. See, I got two of your cups here full of coffee, and I was going to make a big shtick out of it and try to finally set everybody's mind straight that even married people who have devoted themselves all their lives disagree on some things.
And they have fights and they yell at each other. They don't talk to each other, and they do all sorts of things. And everyone in the chat is just like you and I. We're all just brothers and sisters, right?
Well, I believe that.
Right? And
I believe that.
That's what we're doing. And so, you know, it's like, why'd you say that? I don't know sometimes. But I can tell you there's a little bit of here. This is entertainment also.
Yes, I agree.
And a little bit of bantering to all of this for all of us. And by the way, I'm at the Hyatt having my cup of coffee, it's actually a decaf cup of coffee. I've been mostly off coffee, but I'm back, and I do enjoy some caffeinated too from time to time. So I went from no coffee for 2.5 years and no plans to, oh my God, I drink coffee and I might have some salmon now.
Yeah, and everybody says to you, what happened to Kiltz? He quit Carnivore. He turned around completely. What a turncoat. I'm never watching him again. And those are the kind of comments I would get from my viewers. And what do? I always rise to your defense. Rise to your defense. And then people say, you know, the problem is, and I deduced that the problem was, and one of the reasons that I had the week that I had was it finally dawned on me that we're trying to communicate with people that are distracted and so busy talking about other things in the chat, they don't hear a word out of our mouth anyway. And then nobody heard.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was my point, and I'm busy trying for the past week to figure out a way to handle the chat because my live stream's not like your live stream. I don't have an Alia. I tried to have a Peter who watches the chat and everything.
Well, then I sometimes spew out quickly to Ali or Dr. Nelson, and maybe I say something that might be a little disturbing or disrespectful. And I want to tell everyone, I am sorry. It's sometimes the beast comes out. And Ali and Dr. Nelson are amazing, by the way. And, Kiltz is dramatic. He's just sometimes, I tell people, I'm loud and dramatic. When I do a consultation, first thing I tell people is I'm loud and dramatic. Don't take me personally. You might even have to put a filter in front of you and stand back a little bit. So, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
And it is live. It's live TV, if you want to call it, although Rick might sign off that we call it TV. And that it is, we're going to say and do some things that we're going to like, oops, never mind. And we're going to get called out on it sometimes.
We do. We do.
And you were talking about my CAC results, all this stuff, and I got caught up. I got bound up in the testing. And what does it mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oops.
I talked to Ovadi and Boz, and sort of like, oh, take this supplement and do this. You're fine. Have a good day. See you later. Yeah.
And there's been some theories that maybe you haven't heard. One theory that I heard from none other than Eddie Gecki. You know Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was being interviewed by Dave Mack. Did you see that?
I haven't yet.
Okay. Because they were talking about you, about how you reacted to your CAC score. Dave Mack, I love Dave Mack. I was on with Dave Mack. I just yesterday, they put out a video of me and Dave Mack talking about my stroke and about my future plans. And but Gecki came up with an angle. And when he was first on with you, this is funny. This is how sometimes you have to be able to say, I was wrong about that person. The first impression I got, I was wrong once I finally learned more about them. And that's the problem with people. Everybody's so quick to jump on one side or the other of anything without really finding out. Just as first impressions. So when he was on with you, I said, oh, this is great. Here's an arrogant, snotty, young know-it-all that is telling Kiltz he's wrong every time he turns around. And you handled it great. You handled it beautifully, but he would just disagree with you. And wasn't afraid to tell you. He reminded me of Joey Schwartz. You remember Joey Schwartz? Yeah. So he's on with Dave Mack. And I watched it because I'd only seen him twice, the two times he was on with you. And I said, let me give this kid, let me see what happens. And he went on with Dave Mack, and he was a different person. And he was a different person because Dave Mack said nothing he disagreed with. So he let his defenses down. And when he did that, he was a whole different person. And I fell in love with the kid. Okay? I fell in love with him. And what I want to do is tell you what he said about you. He said, I think maybe what really happened with Kiltz in the past couple of years, he already had the plaque. The damage was already there. It just, more of it calcified over the past couple of years, and that's why his CAC score went up. It's not that it's not that he's creating more plaque or doing anything that damaging to his health. And I said to myself, I said, yeah, I said, that makes more sense than anything else, because that's what calcification is for. It's a protection. Would you rather have soft plaque or would you rather have calcified plaque?
Yeah. Can I add something?
Oh, absolutely.
My CAC score nominally went up. To me, it was the same, but my CT angiogram now noted some more narrowing in several other vessels. Okay. Now, I agree with it. Probably has been around for a long time, and you don't know what it means, and this is the problem, because then you go down like, oh my God, my heart disease is advancing. Let's just go down that route, and what does it mean in the sense I'm gonna get a heart attack and or die in a week, a month, a year, or 5 or 10 or 20 years? Our ability to predict those things is not very good. But I did go down this hole of like, oh my God, but I do know I have family history of heart disease. And what we're doing here between carnivore and lifestyle and ideas is, how do we mitigate some of these things? How do we improve ourselves? So one is, I stick to carnivore. I'm not going to give up my ice cream from time to time or fries from time to time or occasional cigar with Mitch.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
there you go. And I'm not giving up my cigars, and I'm not giving up my coffee, because believe it or not, what I'm trying to do is bring the subtleties of all these things. Sometimes the things that we think are harmful to us may be the very things that are enabling us to do the things that are the major improvements to our health. And I recognize that about cigars, for example, 30 years ago, when I recognized, for some reason, when I smoked cigars occasionally, and, you know, I smoke every day, but I don't smoke all day, my addictions left me alone. I wasn't always heading for the food. It's just why people gain 50 pounds when they quit smoking. And this is, in my studies of addiction and addiction management techniques, I've discovered, whether they want to admit it or not, but the best way to cure any particular addiction is to replace it with a different addiction. Something else gives you that dopamine rush, so you don't need to get it from the food. Well, the smoking relaxed me. It gave me something to do with my mouth other than chew food. And I found that if I stopped smoking cigars, I would turn to the food more often. So, 55 years I've been smoking cigars. I don't inhale. I don't pull that stuff into my lungs. Some of the oldest men I know are cigar smokers, and I'm willing to say, okay, I've figured out for myself that what's the lesser of two evils here? Because I'm going to do one of them. Should I forget smoking and eat like a pig, eat sugar like a pig, or am I better off smoking a cigar and not inhaling and relaxing and stress relieving, and then not having it help me overcome the cravings to eat that food? This is all before carnivore. So this is what happens, and I joke, I tell people about it. I say, you ever go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting? I say, these people may be able to give up alcohol, but when they leave the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, they have become sugar, nicotine, and caffeine addicts, because that's what they do in an AA meeting, is they smoke, they drink coffee, and eat donuts. So I said, maybe this is a good direction to talk more about addiction and de-emphasize so many of these other things that aren't all that important. And I think coffee does exactly the same thing. And I think that there's so much disagreement about whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for you. I think that if you made the choice between, well, if I just drink coffee, and I think that Robert Sivas has made this decision for himself because his answer is to sip coffee all day. He calls it a bridge. Maybe coffee might be harmful in a tiny little way, but is it as harmful as eating sugar all day? And say to yourself, okay, I don't have to be so perfect. I don't have to be a carnivore Nazi. I don't have to say, and in that respect, I've been a supporter of yours, and come to the point where I have narrowed my advice that I give to people. If somebody says to me now, do I need to worry about putting a little garlic on this? Do I need to? I say I have one test. I've said this. And the good thing about me saying, well, I said this is that what I said is documented in hundreds of videos. So, yeah, I can prove it. I said, the one test, if you know the food isn't strychnine or cyanide, I mean poison. If you're worried about being poisoned by, a leaf of lettuce, the one test that you need to do is find how much of a carb addict you are, and if that particular substance triggers you into uncontrollable actions, I would stay away from it. Number one. Second reason is if you have a pathological allergy or reaction to it, then you have to stay away from it. But if in small quantities, it doesn't trigger your addiction, it doesn't trigger autoimmune diseases like Michaela Peterson. See, she needs to be Lion Diet. Okay, but none of us need to be a Lion Diet. Your grandmother lived to be old age, not eating a Lion Diet. I've said, okay, let's go out there and round up all the people that we can find today between 90 and 100 years old. Let's round them up. Let's get them in a room. How many can we find? Can we find 30 of them, 40 of them, 100 of them maybe? Let's get them in a room and let's ask one question. How many of you people are strict carnivore? No hands will go up. None of them are strict carnivores. Yet somehow, amazingly, according to what would be impossible, from the carnivore, real staunch, you drink coffee? That's not carnivore. How can you call it, those guys? How would they explain a room full of 90 to 100-year-olds that somehow are still alive and don't eat carnivore?
It's why we're here. It's because we get the dopamine from just being here in the live, which is part of the feel-good stuff. And we're supported by ideas that make us feel even stronger and better. And so we're all addicts, all right? All of us. That's why we're here.
Oh, right? Listen, we got a real problem. We got a real problem here. One of our close friends has just gone off the deep end. And I think we can still save him because I think he's still here. You know him. You know the guy. You love him. Dr. Nelson. And in the chat, he just writes, I'm considering going raw vegan with added vegan donuts, vegan ice cream, at least 6 times a day. What have you done to Nelson?
I've convinced him to come to the right side of the world.
Oh, that's
in order to poke at Mitch.
I know.
To wake up the beast so that we're realizing that there's got to be a little bit of drama to the story because we love dramaticism, we love laughter, we love comedy, but we also sometimes like to cry.
Well, that we're not sociopaths. That's for sure. We're people with. You wouldn't do this if you were a sociopath. There's no money in it. You know that. You know that. No matter what you do, you know, you're not going to make a big. You have to be a star to make any kind of money, and there's just so few stars. And the rest of us are basically, you know, diving in the pond to get the quarters that somebody threw in. That's the way I look at it. So you got to be a human being that cares, and you got to be a human being that has to have some reason to do this. Why the hell would any of us go through the amount of work and effort, especially me, recovering from a stroke, which is a full-time job in itself? Because I do care. And if you care and you're a man of feelings, you can't, neither you nor I can be every day live for an hour, hour and a half. Listen. This is great news here. Great news. We have somehow managed to get Nelson to accept the fact that he has a problem. He has a problem, and wake up to the reality that maybe he should get to a meeting. You know, get to a meeting. And, and get some help before it gets out of hand, you know? I mean, hi, Nelson.
Hello, good morning. I'm here having my morning laugh. It's good for the soul.
Oh,
But I don't know. I may try for a week.
hey,
What do you think, Dr. Fields?
I would think so.
Well,
And
I think if we're going to be true to the word and the way, we've got to give it some play to be on maybe a plant-based diet for a week.
Yeah. And 6 times a day,
You know
this eating 6 times a day, you know where that's going to lead. You know where that's
I'm
going to
gonna-
lead.
I'm going to have my one plant for 1 week and nothing else.
Oh, coffee. Well, I'm glad I got 2 cups here today because I need it. Do you see that? You see that, Nelson? I was going to show Kelsey, and I still loved him. How much I loved him. I still have both of his cups.
Well, he thought you had thrown your cup against the wall.
I
And
know. I was
bro-
watching. I watch him every morning. I don't chat all the time, but I'm always watching. Always watching.
Well, there's comments about Mitch's grandfather smoked 5 cigars a day and lived 100, and my grandmother smoked Pall Malls and drank Manhattans and lived 104. And,
So-
and ultimately, we're here to participate in life.
Exactly, and that's why I decided, because I want to help, and the only way to help sometimes is to focus on the real problem or the root cause, and people don't do that. And I'm firmly convinced, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here today, but I'm firmly convinced that it all stems back to addiction, and that has to be the first test for anybody. So I came up with this new thing that I labeled the carb addiction spectrum. Okay, and the concept, the name says it. I don't want to hear the term used. I asked Dave Mack if he ever heard that. He said no, and Dave Mack's talked to everybody. Not only has he talked to everybody, he's talked to everybody twice, and he never heard it. I said, well, I'm not looking for fame. I'm not trying to trademark anything for future monetary gain. I think it's a concept that needs to be considered early on to determine, okay, I think I need to be a carnivore. How strict do I need to be? And we have to be able to look at ourselves and say, well, some people can eat 1 cookie and put the box away. Other people can eat 1 blueberry and dive into the sugar bowl. Do we both need the same level of strictness? And we need to have a way of trying to figure that out before we decide, do I need to never eat a vegetable again? Or can I be like those healthy 100-year-olds that never heard of carnivore? And it all comes down to the fact that we're all different. So I thought that would be a great and maybe a helpful thing if it would catch on and people would understand the logic behind it. And that's what I'm doing now. So I decided to have I made a domain called Carb Addiction Help, which points to my website, not for commercial purposes. I'm going to start trying to come up with a test, some kind of questions and experiments you can do to find out just what level of carbohydrate. And I'm not talking about junk food or processed carbs or any of that crap. I'm talking about whole foods properly prepared like the old days, like those 100-year-olds used to do. You know, they don't eat raw vegan. They know how to cook a potato. And like you say, Kelsey, one potato every once in a while can't hurt you unless it triggers an addiction to just continually eat potatoes and have to have more and more, and that's called creep. And we've all heard about that. Carb creep. Dairy does the same thing. You have a little cheese today, a little more tomorrow, a little more tomorrow. You need to recognize that. So that's where I'm going with this. And I hope all you guys agree with me. What do you think? Somebody.
I think that being here gives us the power to stay on the path, and I think that it's the community and hanging out with Mitch, having a cup of coffee with Mitch, and buying Mitch a cup of coffee, by the way, is all of us together, and we're teaching each other how to be better. And yeah, I say that I think we just eliminate the addictive environment, and the addictions will fall away. And that's why it's important to, have that refrigerator full of your bacon, eggs, butter, beef, your freezer full of stuff, and a place to hang out where you feel, it's like how many people are leaving this community. I think many of them are going to be back. That, those that are like, oh, I'm done with carnivore, they'll be back.
I would hope so.
When your kids leave home.
Damn, yeah, they come back. Hey, Mom, anybody in the basement?
They come back and they don't want to leave.
Oh, why would they? Why would they? If my parents are still alive and had a house.
That's where we would hang out, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, guys.
Have a great day.
I don't want to take up your whole. I don't want to take up your whole day. I know. I appreciate you coming in here.
I'm gonna prepare my experiment. I will do a 7-day of something. We'll see.
You'll probably just fast. Again, I know you. You'll probably just fast.
I think Stephen Thomas did like a month of carbohydrates, and he shared his story a while back. And,
well, a lot of people do. Nick Norwitz does that all the time.
Yeah. Nick Norwitz, another one. So that's the beauty here. Listen, we're here to hang out. Oh my God, I eat this sometimes, and is my CAC score, CT angiogram, like I'm going to live to 150 years old?
No, well, of course not. And even 120, I think it's a disservice once you hear or get people to expect by saying we're supposed to live to 120. And you hear that from renowned and well-respected people on channel. I think that's an unrealistic expectation, since we don't even have on record in modern times any human that ever lived to 120, let alone the average. And I think you got to be realistic. So I'm trying to be realistic. I know.
I'm a dreamer.
I know for a fact, you can guarantee that maybe 135 would be the maximum, would be my pretty much top end.
200?
200? Yeah.
200
why
days.
not? I'll be happy to make it for a couple more years, to tell you the truth, after this stroke of
Andy
mine.
and all of us, we have no way to predict when and how we're going to die. That's it. All right, Dr. Nelson. I'll
See you,
I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
All right,
see
waiting
you
for the
guys.
kills. All right, thank you, Kelsey. Thanks so much for coming
Mitchie,
in
I
here
love
this morning.
you guys. And we got to poke the beast from time to time. So poke kilts.
Yeah, well, don't take it too seriously. You know I bust on you.
I love it. I love it. I love
Okay.
it. No more
All
cups
right.
for you, by the way.
I don't take it seriously, but my viewers take it seriously and then hate me for it. So we got to
no,
be real careful. We got to be careful.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is they misinterpret because, I think you said this, they're not hearing the whole story and they're not knowing our brotherhood. And that's the part that all of us, even my banter with Dr. Nelson and Alia sometimes, everyone knows Kiltsy. But sometimes I may misspeak in all of us. And so ultimately I love Mitch and I hope he invites me back again.
You're always welcome. You can come in here any morning that you want. My shows are really not structured. Not structured. I'm just trying to keep them positive. But there's so much negative going on and everybody's reacting that sometimes I try to inject some realism and say, listen, chill out. None of this that you're hearing is real, for God's sake.
But we're all just part of the story, and I think we just got to laugh at all of it.
Well,
and at the end of the day, it's like Star Wars. At the end of it, they're all having a party together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, listen, thanks so much. It means the world to me that you came in here. You have saved your coffee cups. They're not going in the trash can today. They're still around.
Right. For another day. Thank you, everyone. I love you guys. Have a great, awesome day. All right. Bye.
See you,
Bye.
my friend. Well, that was very nice. It was. I don't know about you, but I needed that. And I thank both of them. For wanting to put an end to the bad road you can go down when you let your mind start to worry about little things. Like Kiltsy said he did when he got his CAG score. It disrupted his life. That's happened to me in the past. I remember the agony of waiting for the biopsy results when I had a melanoma on my nose. And it took more than a week when the doctor told me that I had malignant cancer. The agony. I would have been better off not knowing until the instant the results came in, because of the damage that we can do to our own lives caused by that kind of worry. That's the reason that I don't want to know at my age, because anything that's might be wrong with me, there's nothing I could do about it anyway. So if I have a condition that's going to kill me tomorrow, I'd rather live today not knowing it and just die tomorrow, because there's nothing I can do anyway. That's what an almost 80-year-old looks at it. If you're 28 years old, 40 years old, yeah, get a CAG score. Find out where you're at. You've got years yet to change whatever you need to change to keep it from progressing. Problem with some of these things is once it's there, you can't remove it. You're not going to. All these artery cleanses that you hear about are just a scam. So you have to be the kind of person, and there are people that just have to know. I have to know. I don't care if I'm dying. I have to know that I'm dying. Well, go ahead, but don't give advice to everybody to do that, because, and I heard Kilt say it this morning on his stream, He's not one for all these tests because he just fell into the same trap that I did, and that is the worry does more damage to you than the thing that you're worried about. Why? No. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Well, we got through an hour this morning. I don't think we're going to go too much longer. This was a very cathartic little episode. I got very emotional in the beginning because I would hate to see a nuclear war caused over nothing because of the way everybody was reacting, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Because when I try to stop it, nobody was listening because they're too busy. And that's why my obsession with the chat lately, I know that people love to be here. I look at the viewer counts. I mean, thanks Skilch brought a few extra people today. We got more people to stick around longer. I mean, maybe they were disappointed when we didn't get at each other's throats, because some people only go to car races to see the crashes. That's human nature. I understand that. I guess I'm guilty too. That's why drama always sells. Nobody. These days, a show like Father Knows Best would never get off the ground. You need reality TV. Need drama. Need tension. Well, I had things I wanted to talk about today, but I'm not going to start now. We got a lot straight today. I hope people who watch this understand the dynamics of how even the slightest misunderstanding can elevate into World War III. We do that all the times in our lives. Are we always looking for a fight? Is that rooted in survival behavior somewhere? It's human behavior, and it's obvious that it happens. I'll give it some thought. What could possibly be the subconscious rooted desire to be in conflict that had enabled our ancestors to survive better? When was that a survival benefit? Or else none of us would have it in us. So, I think it's 8 o'clock. For all of you that came in here today, if you learned, see, I'm not ashamed of the fact that I'm an emotional guy. I take these things personally, and I get hurt, and that obviously was evident earlier. I'm not ashamed of the fact that I got emotional, and because certain things are very important to me. I'm not going to edit that out because that's real. That wasn't acting, that was real. And I pride myself on wearing my heart on my sleeve, and I always will. Oh, I try to put up a tough exterior sometimes, but most people see right through that. Barry Simon, thank you so much, Barry. And you're a great friend to this channel. And not just because you do a super chat or a coffee now and then. You're a great friend because I know what's in your heart. I know what's in your heart. And that's what's important. That's what's important. And you're not, and the message says, Mitch, you are here for us, and we are here for you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because if I'm not wanted, if I don't feel like I'm accepted or even liked, why would I want to come on here in a forum like this and just expose myself to hatred. If that was the case, that would be easy. I would become Don Rickles and develop an act or a shtick where I went out and just insulted people, got them to believe it was just comedy. I'd be happy, but I'm not that kind of. That's not who I am. Not who I am. So thanks so much, Kiltz, Nelson. I love you guys. I have very few real friends in this world. I consider the two of you right up there at the top of the list. Just don't follow the rest of my friends. Not too soon, because the rest of my friends all died. Every friend I had in life is gone. Old age is great, but seeing people that you just love die is tough. My grandfather lived to be 102, lost all his brothers and sisters, his wife, both his daughters. And he had like 15 brothers and sisters. So he lost everybody. When he died at 102, he was the last one. And he had to live through all that tragedy and all those funerals. I don't know if I want to live that long. So take care of yourselves, because you shouldn't have to be identifying new best friends when you're 78 years old. But it happens. It happens. Did I miss Spanky? Or I don't know. I haven't kept up with the chat, guys. Emotionally, I'm drained and happy. Happy that we had this little live stream this morning, and hopefully it cleared up some misunderstanding. Not too many people will probably end up seeing it. Most people out there in the community wouldn't even know that it ever happened. But it did in our little small subset of carnivores. So let me play some happy music and end it on that note. Who's still here? Cordelia, thanks, Mitch. Eat meat. Yes, that's the message. It's that simple. Rick, thanks for your support, my friend. Thanks for your support. Means a lot. Lori, you missed Spanky. He didn't make a sound. We missed Spanky. You talking about my Spanky? You talking about, where is he? Where is he? Spanky, where are you? Wait a minute. Come on. There it is. There's Spanky. You mean my Spanky? I'll have to bring him out once in a while, like Rick does with his cat. Who else? Brian Dish. CB, glad you're here. Tina, sorry to be late. Yeah, watch the replay, Tina. This was an eventful one. It was an eventful one. I'd kill Tia Nelson on here, too. Tammy, good to see you. Denise Kink. I consider you all my friends. Hanging out with Jen. Have a great day, y'all. Bacon Runner, Donna Ray. Survived lunch at a Chinese buffet. Got a girl. Loretta. He makes you happy, Loretta. And having viewers like you, Loretta, make me happy as well. Cordelia, Rick, DS111, glad you're here, my friend. MK. Mitch, I just watched you on No Carb Love yesterday. It was a good interview, thanks. Yeah, Dave wasn't, I'm a great guest for Dave. He hardly has to say 10 words. But yeah, it was a good visit. It wasn't the traditional interview because he'd already done that with me. It wasn't the, hi, Mitch, tell us a little about yourself. What brought you to Carnivore? And go and buy that boilerplate script. But we wanted to catch up and wanted to talk about my stroke. We did, and the direction that I want to emphasize on my channel, which is the role that carb addiction plays in this whole mess, and what we need to do to better use that information to maybe decide whether we need to be strict carnivores, Nazi carnivores, or we can follow Kiltz's recommendations and add a little this and add a little of that, which would do two things. Number one, it'd enable more people to actually be carnivore and healthy because they wouldn't have to be strict. And the second thing that it would do, that it might add back all those carbs that we have to add back that all those scientists and rocket scientists are telling us we need. I did get a comment yesterday from one of my viewers who said, I've been carnivore for 2 years. With all this should I add carb stuff, my blood sugar has gone from 90 to 110. Should I be concerned? And that's what's happening. I told her, I can't advise you on that. I don't know you. I'm not your doctor. I don't know about the tests that we're taking. I just can't. How could I know? There are hundreds of different variables. Your blood sugar may have gone down, and the test results were within both of them within the margin of error, but in a different direction. Has anybody really proved that long-term carnivores are going to die because they're not eating carbs? None of it. It's all just conjecture. So, if so many people are worried about this, and there's a way where you can safely add carbs that aren't too bad for you, and yet still stay on the 70% or more, which is what carnivore really is, you could more than likely become one of those healthy 90 to 100-year-olds that we talked about earlier, hypothetically gathered in a room to try to find out if you need to be strict carnivore to live to be 90 to 100. Well, here's 50 people who are 90 to 100, never heard of carnivore. How do you explain that? So maybe we overdo the damage that the carbs in the way our old relatives ate them, properly cooked, prepared, eliminating those carbs that are known to really be harmful, like the high oxalate vegetables, not eating raw. Maybe it can be, maybe the Mediterranean diet actually is, but some people can't do the Mediterranean diet because they're carb addicts, and that's where my reality sets in. Well, that's all well and good, but John Spina, the carnivore teacher who was a guest on Kiltz this morning, is a raging carb addict. He knows it. He says, I just can't do it. So all the advice about whether it's good for you and here's why, and your blood sugar got a little high, what good is that going to do if you can't stick to it? And the reason you can't stick to it is because you're an addict. You're always going to be an addict. So, sorry, bucko, no more alcohol for you for the rest of your life because it's going to ruin your life. And that's where the carb addiction spectrum came from. Let's find out just how much of this stuff we can eat and still stay on the carnivore lifestyle. And we're more likely to be able to sustain it. Or are we one of those people, like Mitch, who eats one blueberry and what's carnivore? Bring on the ice cream. And I think that's the most important thing we need to know. So with that note, I will leave you for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Say nice things about me when I'm gone, would you please, because I have nothing but desire to see everybody do well. Take that to heart. I will see you tomorrow morning. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.